All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another Integrations Palooza session here today. For some of you, you might be on to your third, fourth, fifth, sixth session of the week. So we appreciate you tagging along. For those of you who this is your first session, welcome to the first annual Hostfully Integrations Palooza. We're honored today to be joined by VR Platform in Ximplifi. We've got Britt and Michael. Britt, Michael, thank you so much for joining us today. We're excited.
Happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. I think people are going to find a ton of value in this. I always do for the accounting. That's the most technical part, I feel like, for me running a vacation rental business. So I think a lot of people are excited. But before we hand the baton off to you and give you guys the spotlight, real quick, I just want to point out a couple of folks here who are on this with us today. One is down below. You've got a reactions button. We'd love to hear your comments, your feedback as we go along. Please feel free to react along the way. You can see some of those popping in there live right now. I also want to point out the questions tab. If any of you come up with questions here along the way as well, don't hesitate to ask any questions. We'll try to get all of those answered during the session. Might save some of those for the end as well. We will have an FAQ at the end, but ask away during this. And then also just want to point out the links tab down below. We've got links. So if you want to learn more about VR Platform and their services, we've got a link to that. We've got a link to Hostfully services if you're not familiar with us. We also created an Integrations Palooza guidebook. If you're not familiar with the Hostfully guidebooks, I'll touch on that a little more in here in just a second, but feel free to reference those links as well. And then final thing, we've got some polls we're going to pop up here for you. We just want to learn more about who's on the call here today. If you're interested in Hostfully or VR Platform, we can go ahead and reach out to you after this. Of course, VR Platform is what you're all here for today, so I assume there's quite a bit of interest in that as well. And for anyone who's going to be watching this after the fact, thank you again for registering for this. We know everyone's busy, so hard to make it work during the day sometimes. But with that being said, just want to give a brief introduction to Hostfully for those of you who aren't familiar with us. So Hostfully, we're a vacation rental management software business. We've got two products like you see there. We've got our property management platform. That's your full tip-to-tail solution for managing day-to-day operations, channel management, automated messaging, and a ton more. Also, a ton of integrations like we're highlighting today with VR Platform. So really, whatever needs you've got in your business that you kind of want to streamline, that's what that property management platform is for. And then our digital guidebook platform. These do integrate with one another. They can be used standalone as well. So if you don't have a need for a property management platform, feel free to take a look at our digital guidebooks. That's really the guest experience application that we have. That platform, it's designed to give guests local recommendations, consolidate all the information they're going to need during their stay, marketplace for upsell products and services, super customizable. So feel free to give a look at that as well. We've got more information on both of these products on hostfully.com. So feel free to always go there as well. And then real quick, just want to shout out some news at Hostfully. Recently achieved VRBO elite status for our property management platform. That's huge, just meaning it's the most robust, reliable API connection you can have to VRBO. We've got preferred plus partner status with Airbnb, premier partner status with booking.com. So again, robust, reliable, make sure that you're integrated to the full capabilities with those channels. And then we recently rolled out new two-factor authentication. So any of you are currently Hostfully users, be sure that you go ahead and get that activated within your account. If you need any help, we'll pass along some help articles for you, but just a nice, exciting new development there. And then always just want to call out customer success office hours, as well as our onboarding office hours for any of you who are in Hostfully onboarding. Feel free to take advantage of those. And then live demos. We do live demos on Tuesdays and Thursdays here at Hostfully for our property management platform and digital guidebook. So if you want to join us in that format there, please feel free to take advantage. With that said, that's all I got for you on the Hostfully side of things. We want to spotlight VR Platform here today. So Michael, I'm going to hand it off to you. It's all yours.
Thanks, Coulter.
Absolutely.
Appreciate everyone being on the call today. We've been working with Hostfully now, I think just over 2 years. We've had an integration together, and they've been a great partner. So really excited to be here today. As Coulter said, I'm Michael Audette. I'm a CPA in North Carolina, and I oversee all of our software as a service implementations at VR Platform. A lot of people ask kind of how this works, and VR Platform is essentially a plugin that bridges the gap between your accounting system. In our case, most of the time it's QuickBooks, Sage Intacct for larger and more complicated setups, but most of the clients that we serve are using QuickBooks or similar software. And we are taking information from Hostfully, Airbnb, Stripe, et cetera, and we're creating those accounting related transactions automatically into the accounting system. And our system, I think really what kind of differentiates vrplatform from other automation tools out there is this was kind of came out of the accounting service business of Ximplifi. And so it was really designed to not just make transactions flow from one system to the other, but it was designed to fit into an actual accounting workflow process. And so when you use our platform, you're not just getting, something that's going to make things appear from here over here. You're actually getting some best practice approach when it comes to actually doing short-term rental trust accounting. Ximplifi has been around for 5 years. vrplatform was created roughly 3 years ago, this version of it, but it was all stemming from automations that were built to scale and grow the accounting service side of the business. And so we realized there was a lot of value to this to property managers as well, and layered on owner statements and a bunch of other features. And so that's kind of how we got to where we are today. All right, so I'm going to jump in here and share my screen. All right. I've just got a demo environment here. I'm gonna just kind of walk through. This is what our platform looks like. There's a link in the links provided here. You can go straight to our website. You can see a recorded demo, see how it works. But essentially, when you sign up for VRP, you are starting a monthly subscription. You get a 14-day free trial, so you can try it out, play around with it, follow our steps to set it up. And then if you decide, you don't like it, you're welcome to cancel. That's fine. But we like people to see it because we feel like it's a really beautiful piece of software and it really sells itself. So once you connect your property management system in here, Airbnb, Stripe, et cetera, what's going to happen is data is going to start flowing into vrplatform. So the main 3 areas are, you're going to get all of our listings in here. We have everything that we do in vrplatform is really designed to be super flexible. So as you can see here, we've got groups for arbitrage listings versus traditional management. And then you can also assign multiple owners to properties. You can turn on specific fees for properties. It's a really, really flexible system. You can really do a lot with it. Your reservations are going to come over also. And with each of these, you're going to actually get the reservation detail for this particular booking. So you're going to get each line that shows up that makes up the payout. And as accountants, we believe strongly in reconciliations. And so what we do is we, in QuickBooks, will create a customer, an invoice, a payment, and a deposit for each booking. And of course, as you all are aware, the deposits are coming in batches. And so everything related to booking, reservation, payment, and deposit is happening automatically without you having to do anything. So a lot of times I'll come across folks that are keying in invoices for every single stay. That's essentially what our system does, but it's just happening in the background. So it allows you to really free up and focus on other things. The other thing it's going to do is it's going to match the Stripe payments based on the reservation ID or confirmation ID, and it's going to pull that in from Airbnb and Stripe. Up until recently, Airbnb didn't share payout data with property management systems. So we built a connection ourselves that kind of pulls that data from the payout summary, and you get all that automatically, and it flows into vrplatform. As far as payments go, let me jump to a specific date period here. Here we go. So in here, when you're looking at payments, what you're going to see is if I click onto any of these, I get the detail by reservation broken out. I can also see the fees that are made up there as well. This is all going to post automatically. It's going to be tagged to the listing. It's going to be tagged to the customer. So you really have kind of a complete audit trail in your accounting system where you can search by reservation ID, by customer name and pull up all the transactions related to that particular reservation. The other thing that I think is really important, and that I kind of mentioned or alluded to before, is that we're always focused on reconciling what the reservation payout was that was received by the property manager, or in some cases the owner. We see that sometimes too. But we ultimately want to make sure that every dollar earned from the stay is ultimately tied out to cash, not individually, but in bulk. And so our accounting approach makes sure that you are actually fully reconciled, and that really leads to bulletproof owner statements each month and financial reports. So kind of moving on is we have the capability to set up a variety of custom fees. Any sort of charge or fee that is based on the reservation can pretty much be accommodated by our system. You can do fixed fees, percentages. You can include, any invoice line item from a reservation in here, number of nights, number of guests. So there's a lot of flexibility here. We also have the capability to line up your Stripe charges. Even though you have a Stripe fee that hits today, our automation will actually bill that back to the owner in the month of the stay, say 6 months from now. Verbo channel fees can also be picked up in the month of the stay and make sure that they're carried to the owner statement. And so what we're doing is we're posting all these transactions into the accounting system, and really the accounting system is the only place where your revenue and all of your expenses live and are reconciled to cash. And so we take all that information and we ultimately create an owner statement from the general ledger data in the accounting system. Just to kind of demonstrate what an owner statement looks like, if you are using our owner statement module, what you're going to see in here is we take the data, like I said, from the accounting system, and then we match it with the data from the property management system. So you can see right here, I've got an Airbnb stay. I can pull it up and look at the details related to that stay. But everything that's in here is ultimately feeding in, and this is also fully customizable, what information we show on the owner statement to the owner. So most commonly, you're going to see accommodation fare, channel fee, other guest fees, commission, and then net owner revenue. That's what a lot of our clients use. I have some that use 1 or 2 columns, and that's it, net rental revenue, commission, and I have others that have like 10 to 12 columns. So VRP is designed to kind of accommodate what you need. As far as the actual meat of the numbers goes, you can show this however you want. Expenses, as I alluded to before, come over automatically from your accounting system. And so what that means is that based on how I capture transaction in QuickBooks, it automatically shows up on the owner statement. So if I have, a supply expense, when I capture it in my accounting system, which I have to do no matter what, it's automatically going to feed into my owner statement based on how I record it. So we use a kind of more modified traditional trust accounting approach. And so the way it works here is, and I could just demonstrate this really quick. We take all the owner activity to the balance sheet. So if every dollar that comes into the trust is ultimately going somewhere else. And so if you're doing trust accounting, essentially, when your reservation payments come in, those dollars are destined to go somewhere else. It could be a deposit for a future stay. Maybe it's due to the owner, due to the property manager for fees or other items. It's a tax, or it's some sort of deposit that could potentially be refunded, like a security deposit. In a nutshell, those are kind of like the 5 areas that every dollar that comes in is ultimately going to get tagged to and tracked. And we break that out by listing as well. So if I click in here, you're going to see, some detail on, all of my different reservations. We use the reservation ID as our invoice number. And so you're always going to have that traceability, like I said, in your system to see, okay, this is my reservation ID. Here's my guest. We actually use a combination of the booking channel, the guest name, and then the reservation ID as the customer. And so, there's a lot of data that's going back and forth, but you're able to break out all of these line items, that you need to go to various places. So cleaning fees going to the property manager, no problem. It's going to go straight to the P&L. Resort fee is also going to the property manager, no problem. You have one or two particular listings that need, this needs to go to the owner instead. No problem. You just set an exception on the workflow. Any reservation that posts for that listing, it's going to direct it to the owner instead of the property manager. So the key that I kind of want you to take away from this is flexibility. Flexibility is like a really big piece of our platform. And then ultimately what you can see here is that at the bottom, we've got our total amount here. So this represents the payout. So this is cash that's actually being sent before any Stripe fees, before any other merchant fees. And we post payments. And when we match those payments against the invoice, we have a $0 balance. And so because we're using the AR feature in QuickBooks, this is our way of always making sure that every dollar that should have been captured from this day actually translates to a payment. Okay. So that's kind of a really, really quick overview of how this works. I know there's questions, so I really would like to spend more time answering questions and, go through the concerns that you guys have. Like I said, there's a recorded demo online you can watch if you want more information, or you can schedule a demo with our team. But at this point, I'd like to just turn it over to the Q&A and to Britt. I'll introduce Britt real quick. She's with Ximplifi. Ximplifi is very closely related to vrplatform. It was essentially developed by the Ximplifi team, and just recently has been kind of split off as a separate company, separate entity, but we're still very closely connected and work together very well. So Britt, I don't know if you want to just speak really quick to Ximplifi and the services that you guys offer. And I will stop sharing here once I find the button.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah.
I did have a quick slide as well in the deck, if you want to pull that up. Keep this really quick. So yes, thanks again. I'm the Director of Business Development here at Ximplifi, and we specialize real specifically in the short-term rental industry, but we are an accounting firm. As Michael showed, vrplatform does a really great job automating processes. At least we like to think so, since we were part developers of that. But there still are accounting activities that need to occur each month, for the process to be complete. And you can expect that time to be about 1 to 1.5 hours per property per month. And that is where our services can come into play to support you if you would like. We offer 3 different levels of accounting services and can help with things like monthly bank and credit card reconciliations, owner statement preparation, bill pay, payroll, and more. So if you would like to discuss any of that further, my email address will be at the end, so feel free to reach out. We can turn it over to questions now, though.
Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for that information. While people try to trickle in questions here, that's always super helpful. So we appreciate you both. And I know some of you have to have questions. It's accounting, so I know everyone's always got to dig deep for some of these. So feel free to post any questions you've got. And maybe the lack of questions so far means you guys did a good job addressing everything. So that would be the good news. And there for everyone is Michael's information. So appreciate you posting that, Michael. But hopefully we get some questions here that we can address here soon.
Sure. I'll go ahead and put one more visual just up on the screen, if that's okay, Coulter, while we're waiting for questions.
Yeah, please do. Any additional information you guys want to share?
So I just want to show this kind of infographic of how the data actually flows through vrplatform, because this is something that, even though people see our demo, it's maybe not super clear all the time. So you have over here your property management systems, and we integrate with a number of them. We do the same thing no matter which property management system we work with, but obviously we're really fortunate to be working with Hostfully. They've been a great partner with us. Airbnb, Stripe, any payments, resolutions, and refunds are getting picked up through there. We're pushing all this information into vrplatform, and then from there, we're posting our guests' invoices, deposits, resolutions, commissions, any charges into QuickBooks. And then we are actually pulling that data back out of QuickBooks in combination with listing and owner info to generate an owner statement via our platform. Our owner statements then can be published to a portal that your owners access. I don't think I mentioned that when I was going through it, but the owner portal allows owners to see their monthly statements. They can run summary statements for multiple months. for year end, for tax 99 reporting. We do have an integration now with Tax Bandits. I think Britt mentioned that on her slide, but that's a really nice feature if you want to no longer deal with the headaches of answering owner questions as it relates to 1099s. It's very transparent. They can run their own reports, and it saves the property managers a lot of time from having to do that. Once you generate your owner statements at the end of the month, it actually will create a bill in QuickBooks that you can then convert into a payment or match against the payment that you are triggering from your bank or whatnot. So trying to really, really reduce the amount of time it takes to close the books at the end of the month and ultimately issue owner statements and payouts and to have them be accurate. That's basically why we exist. So I see there's a question that's populated. So with accounting not being my friend, is there ongoing support? Yes. So we work with a variety of different level of accounting experience. So some of the customers that we have might have 2 or 3 properties. They're just doing it themselves. Some of our clients have over 1,000 listings and have like a controller and an accounting manager, and it's a wide spectrum, right? So we kind of tailor the experience based on the needs of each individual client. We are focused on a self-onboarding process at VR Platform. And so if you're someone that doesn't really want to do any accounting, we highly recommend using one of our accounting partners like Ximplifi or somebody else, because there's no reason in suffering through something that you don't want to do. I do occasionally have people that use our platform. We train them on how the accounting stuff works and spend time with them. And then they realize, I really like this. This is really interesting to me. And so they do it. But in general, what I've found is that if you're trying to run your business and there's someone that can handle this without you having to think about it, and you don't want to think about it, then it's a really good idea to outsource it. How does VR Platform help with lodging taxes? So all the taxes that get passed through the payout from the property management system get picked up automatically, and we accrue them on the balance sheet. As far as filing goes, you can run a report off of that balance sheet, and you always have to do your filings and calculations based on revenue. And sometimes there'll be differences between what's collected versus what you actually owe for things like allowances and other such items. So we actually, we highly recommend that people that are not comfortable with doing their own tax filings to use My Lodge Tax through Avalara, and we have a partnership with them. So you can get a little bit of a price break. You send them the property address, the ownership information. They will automatically tell you, here's all the jurisdictions that you're responsible for filing. And then you just upload numbers into their site and they actually file and pay on your behalf. So it's a really nice service for folks who, again, don't feel comfortable taking on something that they're not used to, handle themselves.
Michael, one question I've got for you. Are there any limitations based on location for VR Platform at this point, or is it international?
No, it is international. We actually opened up about six to 8 months ago and started taking on international clients. And I've lost count on how many different countries we're in now. So, but it is quite a lot. The United States and Canada and the UK is probably where we're most concentrated, but I mean, we are continuously adding people in South America, Africa, the Middle East, Australia. It's really taken off quite a bit. It's been fun to see.
It's a good problem to have, losing track of the countries. And Britt, I guess I'd ask you that same question. Is Ximplifi primarily focused in the US or North America, or what's that look like?
Yes, that is correct. Ximplifi only offers accounting services to US-based companies at this time. And Michael, you should share as well, though I believe there may be some options for companies in Canada with a new accounting partner.
That's right. So what our kind of position on this is, rather than Ximplifi go and try to be experts in Canadian accounting and tax laws, it makes more sense for us to partner with accounting partners that are in those jurisdictions already and are familiar with the reporting laws, the compliance laws. And so we do have some partners in Canada that are, serve this industry as well. So that is kind of, as we go through this, the idea is that we would always have an accounting partner in another country that can assist someone that wants services. But this is somewhat of a newer concept, so it's still in its early stages.
And how long does it typically take to get fully up and running with VR platform? What's that timeline look like?
It depends on the listing count. It's not a huge lift to get started. You're talking hours, and a standard onboarding will take somewhere. The quicker ones will be, a couple of hours. The longer ones, let's say someone has, 60 to 80 listings or more, then you start getting closer to like the 9 to 10 hour mark. But we are rolling out some new enhancements on our onboarding process to automate a lot of those steps. And, that's really going to make a big impact. So instead of you having to import chart of accounts and products and services and configure your accounting system, like it just does it for you. And then we also have templates for owner statements, all of our standard automations, so that you just turn them on. And if you want to use our defaults, you can, but then you can take them and modify them further instead of having to set them all up from scratch. So the downside of flexibility is you lose out on some efficiency because everything is very nuanced and so forth. But that is something that we're really excited about. It's probably going to reduce onboarding. I did one when we were testing it out, and it went from about 4 hours down to 1. So we're talking about like a 60 to 75% decrease in time, which we're really excited about.
Wow. For people who on this call who have implemented a property management system, that's probably music to their ears that it's hours and not days or weeks. So that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the long-term goal is we want people to be able to turn on our software and at least generate a draft of an owner statement within an hour. Like that's what we want. So, we are building everything to be able to do that. Cause when people see it, and it makes some more sense to them. So.
Absolutely. And if anyone has any additional questions, feel free to toss those in the questions tab. We are going to put another link here out for you guys soon, where if you just want to share your feedback on the webinar, we would love to hear that feedback. Anyone who does submit feedback, I will say, into this link, you are going to be registered at a chance to win up to 20 free Hostfully guidebooks for a year. So we value your feedback. Please feel free, once that link is published, to go ahead and fill that out. But before we close things down here, Britt and Michael, any kind of final notes on your end, unless we get any additional questions that come through here?
I mean, I would just say that, like running a short-term rental business is not easy. And, we get a lot of folks every year that come to us in December or January and want to do everything for the whole year. And it's really, really important, both for you, but ultimately also for your owners, to make sure that you have strong processes in place, because you don't want to make mistakes. When owner statements get issued and payments get sent out, and then you have to go to those owners and then say, hey, I'm sorry, I overpaid you or underpaid you. It's just not a good, look for the business. And so we really want to see people have confidence in, one, if I get audited, I'm okay, because I know what's in my trust account. Not a lot of people can say that. And two, I know that my owner statements are accurate month in and month out. And I haven't paid for something on behalf of an owner and not gotten reimbursed for it. So, that's a really big benefit to having strong accounting controls, which you get with services like Ximplifi, software like ours.
Awesome. Britt, any final words of advice, or should we?
No, I think Michael really covered it well. I would just say thank you again to everybody who joined us today, and please feel free to reach out as additional questions come up, or if you might be interested in learning more about VR platform or our accounting services.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, again, you guys, we really appreciate you joining. I think based on the the lack of questions, you probably just did a great job addressing all of those. Of course, you've got Britt and Michael's contact information there. So if any of you do come up with questions after the fact, don't hesitate to reach out to them. If you need to learn more about Hostfully as well, feel free to go to our website. We're happy to book a demo there. But otherwise, we'll let you all get along with your day here. We know you guys are busy as property managers. But Britt, Michael, thank you guys both so much. This was great.
Sure, absolutely.
Perfect. And for those of you who want to join the rest of our sessions here for Integration with Palooza this week, we'll be around. Feel free to register for those. But appreciate you all.